Well, welcome back to Mind Talk, where we like to bridge the disconnect between what brain science knows and what people do. Well, in this episode, I'd like to address the subject of anxiety. Now, anxiety is a huge topic, but I want to give you a little clue of what's going on in the brain when we feel a sense of anxiety. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever felt you've walked into a place, you've doing something, all of a sudden you feel this rising anxiety in you, or this concern, or this worry, or this stress? And you look around you, you have no clue why you're feeling this. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason why you should feeling this stress. But there you are. You can feel it. You can feel your heart rate increasing, maybe your blood pressure, maybe your ears getting warm, maybe your breath has started to become a little more shallow. There it is. The anxiety is with you. Now this rising sense of anxiety or concern or worry or negative such as you're feeling, a lot of that has to do with what's called the amygdala. Now the amygdala, you have two of them. They're about the size of an almond. They're part of the limbic system structure, and they're part of this reactive mindset I've been talking to you about. Now the amygdala is working 24/7. It's like your home security system. Unless someone trips the security system, the alarm's not going to go off. Now the amygdala receives its information from something called the thalamus. Now the thalamus is, you can kind of think of it as a central post office. It gets all of the sensory information from what we see, what we taste, what we hear, and so on. And then that information gets shuttled off to the amygdala right away. Now this is kind of path one. This is a very quick and fast path. All information gets shunted to the amygdala. Now it's a quick and dirty picture. It's like I just sketched something, like the background behind me. I just quickly sketched it on a napkin, and that's the information I sent to the amygdala. Well, that's the path one. It's very fast. It's very rough sketch. Now, if the amygdala picks up anything, any sort of danger in that, then that sets off your system. That sets off your autonomic nervous system, specifically your sympathetic system. That's your fight-flight. It gets you ready to run or fight. Now, there's a second path where the thalamus takes all that sensory information, sends it to the prefrontal cortex. And if you may recall, the prefrontal cortex is where we tend to have our higher thinking. It's slower thinking, where we can deliberate, where we can take things apart, analyze it, look for any true dangers. Well, this is more of a slow path. So the prefrontal cortex goes through this information, and if there doesn't seem to be any danger, well, then that information gets shunted back down to the amygdala in the second path, and it turns off the threat response. So sometimes this is what's happening. So you have a path one that's very fast and dirty, that goes from the thalamus, the amygdala, that sets us off. And this happens unconsciously. And this is why sometimes we can feel stress or anxiety without really knowing why. The slower path takes a little more time, goes to the prefrontal cortex, it analyzes it for any true danger. If it doesn't find anything, then it sends a signal to the amygdala and says, hey, you can turn off the warning system, everything's A-okay. But if the prefrontal cortex does see that proverbial lion coming at you, well, that fight or flight response is already kicked in, and you're running or you're fighting it already. So I just want to let you know that is why you sometimes can feel anxiety without really knowing what it is. So take a look around. Now, sometimes you may never find the actual reason why you're feeling the anxiety. Well, one of the techniques you can do that I teach my clients is just telling you, you know what? You can just say to yourself, you know what? It's just my brain going off. It's my brain doing something. My amygdala has picked up something. I don't know what it is. It could be anything, but there is truly no threat. If you become conscious, if you use your prefrontal cortex, if you use your reflective mindset, you can literally turn off the amygdala and saying, look, there is no threat. There is nothing here. And slowly, your fight and flight response will die down. Well, thanks for watching this week. As usual, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, please contact me through social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, what have you. I'll be happy to answer. And if there's anything you'd like me to speak to in one of these episodes, please suggest something and I will. Until next time, keep well, and we'll speak soon.